Without a vision, people perish. Without a vision, people perish. Without a vision, people perish. Can I ask you a question? What's your vision? Who do you connect to? What do you need to connect to? Because if you connect to the right thing, you're on your way to millions. If you connect to the wrong things, you're on your way to the poorhouse. What partnership does your business have? What employees do you need to find? What is one thing you can connect to that can take your business to a whole entire different level? You've been doing it on your own long enough. The biggest mistake that a lot of athletes make, they married the wrong woman. So before I go any further, let me give my wife her due respect. She has been right there with me by my side. She comes from a family of entrepreneurs. So I married a woman who came from a family who knows how to make money. So I'm very thankful because success is teamwork. The way I look at this world is teamwork. Before I get into my program right now, I'm gonna ask you a serious question. Who's on your squad? Who's on your team? I hear people say all the time, man, I don't need nobody. Oh, you are a fool. People who think that way don't understand how the world works. Any blessing you're gonna get from God gonna come through another person's hands. God is not dropping any blessings out the sky. Any blessing you're gonna get from God has got to go through another person. So write this down. Successful people know a lot of people. Successful people know a lot of people. Successful people know a lot of people. You wanna get the bank? You wanna make some money? Take out your cell phone right now and let me know how many people you know. Right now, I have over 5,000 contacts in my cell phone. Why? I'm in the people business. Can I ask you a real question? You're trying to blow up. You're trying to make a whole lot of money, but are you really in the people business? God is trying to get stuff through you, but he can't get anything to you if you don't know people. Successful people know a lot of people. So right now, go around the room. How many contacts do you have in your cell phone, Ricky? Let's go around. Let's go look in your phone. How many contacts do you have? I have 5,379. Why? I'm in the people business. Today, we're going to talk about business principles. Today, we're going to talk about fundamentals. If you're going to blow up in this business, you need to know a lot of people. The next time I see you, I want more people in your phone. I want more people in your phone. You need access to a lot of people. If you ever think about it, celebrities know a lot of people. You guys agree? Yeah. But they have even more people to know them. So the quickest way you can blow up is get into the people business. Get into the people business. That's got to be your mindset. How can I get into the people business? Imagine if you knew everyone in the pepper business, Wayne. Imagine if you knew everybody in the pepper business. That everyone in the pepper business in the whole entire world knows Wayne. But imagine if everybody in the pepper business, you know them and they know you. Would that not be profitable for you? Successful people know a lot of people. I just want to talk about some business fundamentals. I want to talk about mindset. It is impossible for us to be blessed if we are introverted. It's impossible for us to be blessed if we don't go out here and get into the people business. I'm just warming up. I haven't even gotten started yet because today we want to talk about how to have dominance and dominion. Now, I hope I offend you today because I'm a believer. I hope I offend you today because I believe in Jesus Christ and God has put the spirit of dominion on the inside of us. But the Bible also says the children of darkness are wiser than the children of light. What does that really mean? Sometimes we're so spiritual, we're dumb. Sometimes we're so spiritual, we don't use common sense. In other words, if you're going to be successful in business, let me teach you some other mindset tips. I'm just getting warmed up. On my way to the NBA, I had to master the fundamentals of basketball. It took me 15 years to learn how to dribble like an NBA ball player. It took me 15 years to learn how to shoot like an NBA ball player. It took me 15 years to learn how to pass like an NBA ball player. It took me 15 years to learn how to rebound like an NBA ball player. It took me 15 years to make my body look like an NBA ball player. And after 15 years of development, then the NBA called me worthy and gave me a jersey. And I became an official NBA ball player, which represents becoming elite. It took me 15 years to become an expert in basketball. Are you on a track to becoming an expert in your industry? Are you on a track to become elite in your industry? I'm talking mindset. When I was 10 years old, Newberry, my vision was to play in the NBA. My vision was not to play in the playground. My vision was not to play on my high school team. My vision was not to play on my college basketball team. My vision when I was 10 years old, my daddy put that basketball in my hand, was to get to the highest level to become elite. Without a vision, people perish. Without a vision, people perish. Without a vision, people perish. Can I ask you a question? What's your vision? What is your vision? Most people have a vision to survive. Elite people have a vision to survive, to thrive, I'm sorry. So can I ask you a real rhetorical question? Have you been surviving or have you been thinking about thriving? Have you been thinking about surviving or have you been thinking about thriving? Surviving sounds like this. Man, I got that car note. I got that car note. I got that mortgage. Oh man, I got my baby starting college in the fall. How can I get enough money to pay that college tuition? Right? That's survival. You can use all your mental capacity to survive. I'm a Chicago inner city kid. I know geniuses in the hood. They use all their mental capacity to survive. They know how to use WIC. They know how to use welfare. They know how to use Section 8. And they know everything about the rules and regulations. And they've been living a long time and have figured out how not to even work. You guys know anybody like that? Raise your hand. They have perfected the system, which means they have used their mental capacity to survive. Let me tell you something. You know any millionaires? Raise your hand. You have access to millionaires? Raise your hand. My wife and I live in a neighborhood with 6 billionaires. And the difference is, this person's not smarter than you. The only difference is, they've allowed their mental capacity to be focused on thriving. We all get 24 hours a day. So I want you to ask yourself a real rhetorical question. Have I been using all of my mental capacity from God to survive? Or have I been using my mental capacity to thrive? Now, when I talk about the shark mindset, guys, this thing is a movement. When I talk about the shark mindset, this thing is amazing. So let me tell you the story of how this evolved, and I know it came from God. My wife and I and my son went fishing. I had my fishing pole in the water. I do a lot of events. I run my mouth for a living. When I go fishing, I just want to chill. When I go fishing, I just want to think. When I go fishing, it's like me and God in the ocean. And this one day, my wife caught a fish. She pulled it in, and all I care about, can we eat it or not? I got the grease at home ready. We're going to season that joker up, and we're going to drop it in some grease, and we're going to have a good old meal. The captain of the boat says, no, you can't eat this one, but watch this. He takes this little bitty ugly fish, he sticks it to the top of the boat. This fish had a suction on the top of his head, and it stuck to the top of the boat and defied gravity. And I'm looking at this fish, and I'm like, man, this is incredible, man. It has a suction on the top of his head, which means it's smart. The suction is located on the top of his head, which means it's intelligent. The suction is located on the top of his head, which means it has strategy. It's wise. And I asked the captain, how does this weak little feeble fish survive in the ocean? I'm from the Midwest. We got lakes. And we're used to pulling in small little baby fish. But I'm in the ocean, and we're pulling a weak fish. And I asked a simple question to the captain, how does this little fish make it in the ocean? He says, Walter, the sucker fish is waiting for a shark to come by. I said, what? Oh, yeah. When a shark comes by, it connects to the shark, and they have a symbiotic relationship. The shark needs the suckerfish, and the suckerfish needs the shark. I want you to take 3 minutes and write down on a sheet of paper, what does your business need to connect to? What partnership does your business have? What employees do you need to find? What is one thing you can connect to that can take your business to a whole entire different level? You've been doing it on your own long enough. You've been doing it by yourself long enough. Let me tell you something. The first person I connected to was my wife. The second person we connected to was Jesus Christ. And let me tell you, we were 2 suckerfish, and we were waiting for our shark to come by. And when our shark came by, we connected to our shark, and our shark took us places we couldn't take ourselves. Can I ask you a question? Who do you connect to? What do you need to connect to? Because if you connect to the right thing, you're on your way to millions. If you connect to the wrong things, you're on your way to the poorhouse. Write down on a sheet of paper. Who do you need to connect to? What do you need to connect to that can take you places that you can't take yourself? Take 3 minutes and think about, what do I need to connect to? Is it a social media expert? Is it the right salesperson? Is it the right manager? Is it the right organization? There is somebody or something you can connect to that can take you places that you can't take yourself. And you need to be looking for these opportunities. Because if you're not looking for these opportunities, you won't recognize it when it shows up. Take one more minute and just think creatively. Who or what do I need to connect to? And I'm going to give you some ideas. On my way to the NBA, the first thing I had to connect to was coaching. I needed great coaches that can help me develop and become. Now, I'm going to explain the shark mindset in just a moment, because the suckerfish connects to the shark, and the shark takes the suckerfish places it can't take himself. Question: who's your coach and who's your mentor? Who's your coach and who's your mentor? If you don't have a coach, if you don't have a mentor, you are in the right place. Because the one thing I learned on my way to the NBA, it's impossible to become the best version of you without some type of guide. If you look at professional sports, every great player is connected to what? Say it loud. Every great player is connected to a great coach. And this coach's job is to guide you to the best version of yourself. Let's look at our favorite movies. Who was the guide in Karate Kid? Mr. Miyagi. Would Karate Kid be Karate Kid without Mr. Miyagi? He'd have kept getting his butt kicked. Am I right or wrong? Who was the guide in Rocky? Who was in Rocky's corner? You guys need to go to movies more often. Mickey! Mickey was in his corner, and so was Adrian, his wife. You got to make sure you're always connected to the right thing. Does that make any sense? So the way the shark mindset works, guys, there's a shark, there's a suckerfish, and there's a parasite. There's a shark, there's a suckerfish, there's a parasite. Write this down. There's only 3 kind of people on this earth. There's only 3 kind of people on this earth. There's only 3 kind of people on this earth. They're sharks. These are people who are focused, who are relentless, who are locked in. When a shark sees it prey, it goes into a trance. When a shark sees it prey, it goes into a trance. When a shark locks in on its prey, it goes into a trance. That is why the Bible says, without a vision, people perish. Because if you don't have a vision, you're not locked into anything. And every time the wind blows, there you go. Every time we have some trouble, there you go. Every time you face some adversity, there you go. On my way to the NBA, I had adversity. On the way to the NBA, I had challenges, but I stayed locked into the vision, because without a vision, people perish. When I was 16 years old, I told my dad, I'm going to play in the NBA. And when I'm done playing in the NBA, I'm going to make more money in business than I did in sports. At 16 years old. And along the journey, I had adversity. I had setbacks. I had challenges. But I went into a trance. Sharks have characteristics. And that's why they're the apex predator in the ocean. I'm going to cover the 6 at a high level, because today I just want to double click on 1. Sharks never stop moving forward or they die. Sharks never stop moving forward or they die. Please write these down, because if you develop the characteristics of a shark, trust me, you'll become the apex predator in your industry, which simply means every single day you got to make progress. Every year we have 365 days in the year. There is no excuse for you not to make progress every single day. Why? You're locked in on your vision. You're locked in a trance-like state. And every single day you got to make some advancement towards your vision. The most important step of a baby is what? Any moms in here? What's the very first step that we all celebrate? A baby step. Why is that baby step so important? Because it represents progress. You can baby step your way to $1 million. Think about it. There's 365 days in a year. You mean to tell me if you make a little bit of progress in 365 days, I can walk home from here in a whole lot less than 365 days. So the biggest challenge you might be having right now, you're not making any progress. Every single day, you need to make progress, and that's the number one reason why sharks are the apex predator in the ocean. I'm gonna come back to that. Sharks never look down, they only look up. Sharks never look down, they only look up. What does that really mean? Sharks focus on the right things. Sharks don't watch the news. Sharks aren't focused on Trump. Sharks aren't focused on P. Diddy. Sharks are not focused on foolishness. Sharks are focused on their business. Sharks never look down. They only look up, which means they're positive, but most importantly, they are looking for opportunities. They're constantly looking for opportunities. And how do opportunities present themselves? Anybody know? Does anybody know how opportunities present themselves? As problems. That's what opportunities are. Problems. And if your product, if your service can solve a problem, trust me, people will line up and they will pay premium dollars for the problem that you solve. But here's a problem. If you don't know how to market, nobody knows you. If you don't know how to market, nobody knows who you are. If you don't know how to brand, nobody knows who you are. On my way to the NBA, I had to learn how to dribble. I had to learn how to shoot. Can I ask you a question? Have you mastered marketing? Do you know how to market? Now, if I went to a young kid and said, you want to play in the NBA? Yes, sir. Well, can you dribble? He's, no, sir. Well, do you work on your dribbling? No, sir. Well, you're fooling yourself, son. You're never playing in the NBA if you can't dribble a basketball. You want to be a millionaire? Do you know how to market? No, sir. Do you work on your marketing? No, sir. Well, I'm happy to tell you, you are fooling yourself. You will never be $1 million business person if you don't master the basic fundamentals of business, which is marketing. To me, marketing is just like dribbling a basketball. If you go to the local bookstore, there's probably 1,000 books on how to market. So you're in business for yourself. You're an entrepreneur. And you've not spent any time learning how to market. I mean, Target knows how to market. Raise your hand if you heard of Target. Raise your hand if you heard of McDonald's. They market so well, you can see their logo without their name. You know who they are. When you see a red bullseye, we know who they are. When you see those golden arches, they know who they are. We know who they are. Am I right or wrong? So if you don't know how to market, guys, you're fooling yourself to think you're going to be $1 million player. Number two, have you learned how to sell? To me, if you're going to be successful in business, you need to have the right mindset that I need to learn how to market and I need to learn how to sell. Because if I learn how to market and I learn how to sell, that's the foundation of any successful business. So you wake up every morning, scratching your head, trying to figure out how to blow up, trying to figure out how to thrive. But if you don't know how to market, if you don't know how to sell, you're going to matriculate not to thriving, but to surviving. Raise your hand if you've just been surviving for a long time. Raise your hand. It's okay. Don't be ashamed. You've been surviving. And you know why? Because your mindset is off. You don't have enough people in your life, which means God can get a lot of blessings to you because you don't have enough people in your life, right? Two, if you don't know how to market, if you don't know how to sell, it's going to be impossible for God to bless you. I can almost stop my program right now because you got some value already. One, you need to know a lot of people. Raise your hand if you agree. Two, man, if I learn how to market, if I learn how to sell, that's like a ball player dribbling and shooting a basketball. If you agree with that analogy, raise your hand. So to be successful in business is about the mastery of the fundamentals of business. Sharks never stop moving forward or they die. Imagine if you committed yourself to mastering marketing. You will make progress. If you agree with me, raise your hand and say yes. Imagine if you focus on selling. If that'll make you some progress, raise your hand and say yes. The first thing my wife and I did, I never had a real job, guys, but we focused on marketing, we focused on selling. We focus on marketing, we focus on selling. I made progress by calling 25 people a day, every single day, asking them to buy. I call 25 people a day, every single day, asking them to buy. I call 25 people every single day and ask them to buy. Write this down. Habits and rituals. 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 If you want to be successful in business, you must have habits and rituals. Here's the difference between a habit and a ritual. A habit, sometimes you do it, sometimes you don't. Some of us have good habits and some of us have bad habits. If you agree with me, raise your hand and say yes. Here's the difference. You need to have rituals. Rituals are different than habits. Habits can be bad. Habits can be good. Sometimes you do them, sometimes you don't. When you adhere to a ritual, your ritual is connected to a desired result. My ritual every single day was to call 25 people a day, every single day, and I did it no matter what. Whether I felt like it, whether I wanted to do it, didn't matter. I had a ritual of calling 25 people a day, every single day, asking them to buy. In a year's time, does anybody know the math of how many people I asked to buy? In a year's time, that's 6,000 people. In 1 year, by calling 25 people a day, asking them to buy, in 1 year, I contacted 6,000 people in 1 year. You can have a horrible closing rate. But if you ask 6,000 churches to buy, what's going to happen, Newberry? If you ask 6,000 people, if you ask 6,000 people to buy your peppers, if you ask 6,000 people to come to your events, if you ask 6,000 people to book you to speak, if you ask 6,000 people to join CBMC, if you ask 6,000 people to let me manage your money, and you could have a horrible closing rate, you still will thrive. We did that 3 years in a row, which means I contacted 18,000 people in 36 months and asked them to buy. Couple lessons in there. I got into the people business and I got into some rituals. And in 36 months, my wife and I doubled our MBA income. Raise your hand if you would love to double your MBA income. Raise your hand if you would love to double your income right now. If you learn how to market, if you get some good rituals on how to sell, trust me, it will all trickle down to your bottom line. In 36 months, without ever having a real job, in 36 months, we doubled our MBA income because I understood the power of habits and rituals. I knew the difference, but most importantly, through my journey to the MBA, I learned how to become elite. 3, sharks are curious and always learning. Sharks are the smartest fish in the ocean. There's nobody in that ocean smarter than the shark. How can you get smarter? How can you become an expert in your industry? There should be nobody in your industry smarter than you. Here's a problem. Grab your iPhone again. It's called a smartphone. We can use the smartphone to get smart, or we can use our smartphone to entertain us. We can use our smartphone to get smarter, or we can use our smartphone to entertain us. With the advent of AI, there is no excuse for anyone to be ignorant. If you agree with me, raise your hand and say yes. Being dumb is a choice right now in today's marketplace. If you agree, talk back to me. So can I ask you a question? Are you using your phone the right way? My wife and I did some public seminars much like this. We filled up ballrooms just using my cell phone. We sold out events just using my cell phone. Why? Because I'm in the people business, know a lot of people. I just went through my phone and just text people. Next thing I know, we had a full ballroom. So your rituals, guys, that you do every single day are going to have a huge impact on your business. If you're inconsistent with your rituals, you're going to be inconsistent with your results. That's why sometimes you have a good year, sometimes you have a bad year. Sometimes you have a good quarter, sometimes you have an off quarter. Sometimes you have a good decade, sometimes you have a bad decade. Sharks are consistent. They outwork every other fish. They only look up, they never look down. Sharks are curious and always learning. You guys know why they bite humans? Anybody know? Huh? By mistake. They bite us by mistake. Sharks just don't go around just eating everything. They're very intelligent. But some of us humans can look like turtles. Some of us humans can look like seals. So when a shark is under the ocean, they're so curious, they see you, they're not sure what you are, and they come to bite you because they don't have hands. What do little kids do to learn? They put everything in their Sharks are just like kids in that regard. They put everything in their mouth. That's why we hear about shark bites. And Jaws, the movie, lied to us. Jaws made us think that they actually eat us, and they don't. They might tear off your arm, and they're like, ooh, I don't like that, nasty, and they spit it out. Because sharks are curious, and they're always learning, and they can't help but to investigate every. You can't learn without being curious. You guys agree? So I'm going to ask you a question from a business standpoint. What are you curious about? Oh, you're just trying to make money. I get it, but what you curious about? So if you're just waking up trying to make money, you're going to always survive because God is good. But if you want to thrive, it's about being curious and being smarter. I read a book by John Maxwell. He says if you want to be an expert in any industry, you should have read 2,500 books on the industry. When I first heard that statement, I was like, man, you can't read 2,500 books on motivational speaking. You can't. And I thought about it, well, how many times did I dribble the basketball in those 15 years? How many free throws did I shoot in those 15 years? How many laps did I run in those 15 years? How many times did I sprain my ankle? How many suicides did I run in those 15 years? And I thought about it, I can't even calculate what it took in 15 years for me to become. So can I ask you a question? What are you working on becoming? You got to get curious about leadership if you're in leadership. You got to get curious about financial services if you're in financial services. He who wins souls is wise. So if we want to win more souls, we have to be what? Wiser. So I want to encourage you, whatever your industry is, just to get more curious. Number 4, sharks respect their environment and they recognize other sharks. What does it mean to respect your environment? What it simply means to me, you're going to leave this world in a better place. Something about your life is going to leave this world in a better place. When I played in the NBA, you know what the mantra was? Leave the league in better shape than what you found it. These salaries have exploded. Why? Because Isaiah Thomas left the NBA in better shape than what he found it. Magic Johnson left the NBA in better shape than what he found it. Larry Bird left the NBA in better shape than what he found it. Right now, attendance is shrinking in the NBA. You guys know that. So the NBA is trying to figure out how can we make the NBA attractive more? Do we cut down games? What can we do to make the game more attractive? Go talk to your players and give them the same credo. They've made tons and tons of more money because of John Stockton. They make a whole lot more money because of Karl Malone. But they don't have the same mindset we had in our generation to leave the NBA in better shape than what they found it. Think about your industry. How can you leave your industry in better shape than what you found it in? What if you left the industry and said, man, because of Wayne, the pepper business is like this. Because of Newberry, the gospel music industry has this. Because of Steve Solomon, CBMC has this. What impact can you make that your whole industry can say, wow, because of him, because of her, this whole industry thrived. We were in a meeting in Minneapolis at the Prince Institute of Paisley Park. And my wife and I was working on a book. And I didn't have peace on a book deal. And I heard about how Prince rebelled against the music industry. And he refused to allow them to use his name because they owned his name. So he rebelled against the whole industry and said, you know what? I'm not going to go by Prince anymore. How do you get to own my name? I'm Prince. I built the brand, but this record label stole his name, stole his identity, and he did something about it. He said, I'm the artist formerly known as Prince. Now I'm just known as a symbol. As I heard this lesson, he just made me better because I was struggling with a book deal. And as soon as I heard what Prince did, I had clarity on what to do with my next book deal because the publisher I was working with owned the rights to me. He owned the rights to my intellectual property. You mean to tell me that when I write a book with you, you own my work? And all of a sudden I got clarity because Prince taught every musician, every author, how to own their brand. All the top music executives now won because of it. Jay-Z is winning because of Prince. Beyonce is winning because of Prince. Locate your favorite artist today, and they're winning because of the stand that Prince made. We rarely hear about labels anymore. But now all we hear about the artists, and it all goes back to Prince. He's not with us anymore. But Prince made the music industry better. I don't care what you say about Prince. I thought he was weird. I lived in Minneapolis 25 years. But we went to Paisley Park. And I thought to myself when I left, like, my. I had no idea how talented, how gifted, and what kind of impact this one man had on the entire music industry. And I was convinced Prince, or the artist formerly known as Prince, was the greatest musician of all time. He played every instrument on all his music. What a gift, what a talent. And then he made a stand to help other artists and other musicians. I want you to take a moment and think about how can you transform your industry? How can you transform your industry? How can you make a difference in your industry? There's a lot of problems in your industry. How can you be the solution to the problem in your industry? Most people just talk about the problem. Most people analyze the problem. Most people pontificate about the problem. Very few of us see this problem as an opportunity. How can you make an indelible impact on your industry? We're talking about mindset right now. But if you're stuck on surviving, you're not thinking about solving problems. Why? Because you got problems of your own. Because that mortgage is a problem. That car note is a problem. That college tuition is a problem. You can spend all your time surviving instead of saying, wait a minute. Let me change my mindset. Because there's an abundance out here. And I know some millionaires. Matter of fact, my neighborhood has 6 billionaires. You know why they're billionaires? Because they have a sharp mindset. They spend all their time thriving, and none of their mental energy is surviving. We live in a world. We're becoming the have and the have-nots. If you agree with me, raise your hand and say yes. Why is that? Because the have-nots are focused on surviving. The haves are focused on thriving. And every time we get into a stumble in the country with the economy of the world, guess who benefits? The thrivers. Guess who gets nervous? The survivors. Sharks recognize other sharks, and they respect their environment. Who are you fellowshipping with? If iron sharpens iron, you need to think about your crew. Oh, I'm with my best friend from the 3rd grade. You know, we my best friend. Oh, okay, that's your best friend. Write this down. If your salary is the average of your 5 closest friends, you better really think about your friends. So if you're still best friends with your best friend from 3rd grade, I get it, that's your girl. Those other 4 choices, you need to be very selective. When I played in the NBA, who'd I hang out with? NBA ball players. It made sense to hang out with Tim Hardaway. He just texted me. It made sense to hang out with John Stockton. It made sense to hang out with Karl Malone. Didn't that make sense? It made sense to hang out with Jerry Sloan. Didn't that make sense? It just made sense to hang out with Grant Hill. It just made sense. But when my NBA career ended, you know, my wife said, you know what? I got an idea. I said, what? Let's join a country club. My first reaction. What's a brother like me gonna do in a country club? But I understood fellowship. And the first time she mentioned it to me, it sounded odd, it sounded strange. But then I realized, like, you know what? You're right. Basketball's over. I'm a business guy, never had a job. I need to get around other business people. I hung out with sharks in the NBA, great whites. I need to get into the business world and hang around sharks in the business world. If iron sharpens iron, which means simply we help mold each other. I'm gonna say it again. If iron sharpens iron, what God is really teaching us, we help mold each other. So if you hang with some knuckleheads, what you gonna become? Knucklehead, inevitable. If you hang with some thugs, what you gonna become? If you hang with a bunch of divorced women, if that's your crew, for men, you hang with a bunch of dudes that cheat on their wife, right? Over time, you're going to start thinking about it. You hear what I'm saying? Iron sharpens iron because we form each other through our virtue. What you believe in. What you standing on. What's your principles that guide you? Because if I hang out with you, I'm going to get those principles. If I hang out with you, I'm going to hear your value system. If I hang out with you, I'm going to hear what you believe in. If I hang out with you long enough, if I'm not careful, I'll start to adapt your mindset and begin to make it my own. Evil communication will corrupt good manners. Evil communication will corrupt good manners. Evil communication will corrupt good manners. Sharks respect their environment and they recognize other sharks and they rarely attack each other. And here's why. Because they understand abundance. There's no reason to have haters. There's no reason for you to hate on anybody. The only reason why people hate on each other because they're jealous and act like God can't bless them too. That's the only reason people hate on each other. Let me tell you something. If you don't have haters, your vision is too small. Haters are a part of the landscape. Jay-Z has haters. LeBron has haters. Michael Jordan had haters. Muhammad Ali had haters. And George Foreman had haters until he learned from Ali and came back and said, wait a minute. Ali makes more money than me. He's in the people business. George Foreman had a resurrection, came back late in his career and got into the people business. And before you know it, George Foreman got everything back that God had planned for him because he got wise later in life. Two more, then we're going to close up. You guys having a good time? Raise your hand and say yes. Yes. Sharks are made of cartilage, which means they're flexible. Sharks are made of cartilage, which means they are flexible. Sharks been running the ocean for a long, long time. Why? Because they are flexible. Some sharks operate in fresh water. Some sharks operate in salt water. There's one species of shark, they operate in fresh water and salt water. You know what I call that? Let me out the car mentality. Just let me out the car. Some people, I'm a small town guy. I just really need a small town. Some folks are like, oh man, I'm big city, bro. I need a big city. You know what my mentality? Just drop me off. Where? Right here. I'll be all right. In the city, drop me off. Suburbs, drop me off. Italy, drop me off. Mi piace pallacanestro. Germany, alles klar, wiedersehen, sehr gut. Drop me off in Venezuela. Just let me out the car. I'll be okay. Why? I'm a shark. I'm going to keep making progress. I'm going to look up, never look down. I'm curious and always learning. And let me tell you something. I respect my environment. I recognize other sharks, baby. Trust me, I'll be fine. Just let me out the car because sharks are made of cartilage, which means they can adapt. They conform to any environment they're in and they position themselves for success. Recession, just let me out the car. Interest rates, let me out the car. The real estate's plummeted, just let me out the car. We started our business in September 2001. October, I'm sorry. What happened in September 2001? We started our business in October. Folks are like, man, you crazy? It's a horrible time to start a business. It's a perfect time. Why? Because everybody's distracted. And we're going to make our move on a competition while nobody's looking. By the time it calmed down, my wife and I was in the game and people didn't know what happened. Finally, sharks elevate their suckerfish, which means they connect to the right people and they're consumed with helping somebody else have a better life. I wish I had more time. My wife's looking at me and said, Walt, you got 3 minutes. We're going to start on time. We're going to end on time. We ain't going to have a church. We're going to be here all day. Amen. But what if you got consumed with solving somebody else's problems? What if you got obsessed with solving somebody else's problem? I know you're trying to blow up. I know you're trying to get your money. And how you're going to get your money is being obsessed with somebody else's problems. Here's how economy worked way back in the beginning. To make a loaf of bread, a farmer had to grow the wheat. He had to grow the cow. He had to raise the chicken. He had to do all this work just to get a loaf of bread. That's a lot of work for me to go get a loaf of bread. So they got smart and said, you know what? I'm going to specialize in the milk. I'll be the dairy farmer. Oh, yeah. Okay, I'm going to specialize in the wheat. All I'm going to do is, I'm going to be the beef guy. And all I'm going to do is worry about, if you want some protein, I'm the protein guy. Good. So in this neighborhood, you the milkman. I'm the beef guy. You the chicken woman. And you the bread person? Okay, good. And you the baker? You gonna do the flowers? Before you knew it, you had economy and everyone had a niche. Write this down. There's riches and niches. There's riches and niches. There are riches in niches. If you want to make some progress, what is your niche? Chick-fil-A came out and created a niche that wasn't even there. You guys agree? Yes. Beats by Dre came in and took over an industry and got to the top of the food chain right away. So your niche can be a brand new category, or your niche can be an industry that's dying, that somebody needs a fresh touch, and you go right to the top of the food chain. Listen, I'm out of time, but let me tell you something. I just went at a high level of all the Sacred Six, and what we're gonna do next week is double click and double down on some of these, and I'm telling you, if you wanna get to your next level, I highly encourage you to come next week, because all we're gonna offer you are sound business principles. My wife and I have earned millions and millions and millions of dollars, and we made a decision to get out the corporate ballroom and say, you know what, we're gonna come down to that small business owner, we're gonna come down to that entrepreneur, and we're gonna teach you everything we learned in the big ballrooms, on private jets, private planes. We've gotten a chance to rub some elbows. We've done the homework. We have done the research. Let me tell you something. I've been around the greatest basketball players in the world, and I know how they think. In my neighborhood, we got 6 billionaires. And trust me, I know how they think. One day my neighbor says to me, Walter, you're never home. And I jokingly said, well, if I had your plane, I'd be here more often. He goes, yeah, that's a good point. I was like, you got a plane? I was joking. He said, yeah, that's a good point. Come to find out he has 2 planes. He sold his business for $400 million. Just right across the street. Walter, anytime, come on over, man. I like you. Let's have cocktails. Oh, I'm in the people business, Doc. And successful people know a lot of people. Listen, we're out of time. If you had a good time, clap. If you learned some stuff, clap. I want you guys to know this is our very first meeting. We did a test run last week, and I want you guys to know you are the very first session we've done in the Millionaire program. And we would love for you guys to get committed. We want you guys to lock in, and I want you to invite more people. Our job is to sow into you, and our job is to help you solve your problems, because we believe, my wife and I believe, if we can help others solve their problems, God got our back, man. Listen, we have some gear off to the side. We have a whole apparel line called the Shark Mindset. We designed this together, my wife, my son, and I. Feel free to grab a hat. Feel free to grab a T-shirt. We're doing these things for free. And if you feel like you got some blessings today, add some value back to us. Because here's my final thought and we out. Money is a currency that is meant to flow. Money is a currency that is meant to flow. Money is a currency that is meant to flow. You think God is trying to get money to you. God is trying to get money through you. And basically, if you stingy, God can't get money through you. So why should he get money to you? If God can trust to get money through you, which means you're generous, God can get more money to you. You guys agree? Raise your hand, say yes. Final thought in the mouth. I was on a private jet with a guy who's a billionaire. You know what he said to me? He said, Walter, it's just money. If I run out of money, I'll go get some more. That's what he said to me. He said, dude, it's just money. Don't trip. It's only money. It's paper. And if I run out of money, we just go get some more. I'm on a private jet in the air thinking, my. Thank God I'm rubbing shoulders with this giant. And I thought to myself, man, you can be the shark and I'll be the suckerfish all day long. And this one guy has literally changed my life. I got connected to a shark. This one person literally changed my life. But we're looking for opportunities. And we saw the opportunity. And we took full advantage of the opportunity that God created. And the opportunity was a problem. The Food Network had a show. They needed a host. They called us. I've never been on TV. I don't even know how to cook. And my wife and I said yes. We got on the Food Network. And the one guest that came on the show liked me. And let me tell you something. That connection literally changed our life. My wife and daughter are going to be over here by the product. Feel free to grab a t-shirt. Feel free to grab a hat. And let me tell you something, man. Come next week. Bring your friends. Bring your colleagues. Bring your teammates. Bring your partners. Bring whoever you can. Because trust me, we're building millionaires around here. And if you want to be a millionaire, trust me, stay locked in. Because as soon as you become that millionaire, you're going to recalibrate and we're going multi. Does that make sense to everybody? All right. God bless you guys and see you next week.